planted.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of SpikeTalk. I'm your host, Babybay. I'm with my co-host, other host, Frost. And the rumors were true. NRG did welcome back FNS and Sam, so that was accurate. And, I mean, we talked about it a lot already. They're going to be better, you know, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're going to be much better. I pretty much assumed this would be in some ways what the comp should have been this year. Oh, the offseason was kind of weird, but this is kind of what I thought it would look like. Minus artists. I've always known that FNS, really wanted to play with Ethan. I didn't necessarily think Ethan would leave that team, but the EG breakdown and everything, I thought this is what it was going to be. It just got weird. So I look forward to seeing what they're doing. I think they're 3-3, right? So they're just like, they're right there.
Yeah, they have a chance.
Yeah, NA's really good though. So, they only really get one chance, right? One season. So, good luck to them.
I think, I think like speaking on the Ethan thing about like him not wanting to leave, I think when you get a big enough bag, and he's been on NRG before, I'm sure he got a big bag on it before. I mean, anything's possible. You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true. Yeah, it looks like they're not going to make any. Yeah. It looks like they're not going to make any coaching changes. We talked about it before. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much on it, but I know, right? Like, I know what the CS rumors are. Yeah. So, it is what it is. And we're going to talk about another CS rumor probably a little bit later, too.
Yeah, literally. Like, probably in, like, the next freaking... Actually, probably once we run through all the Tier 1 people, we'll do it. So then we have FURIA signed xand back, which, by the way, this guy... I mean, he looks like a superstar. He looks like a fucking rapper. I love the swag that this guy has. But what do you think about xand as a player? Because you're more familiar with the Brazilian scene than I am.
I think
do you think this is a good change for FURIA?
No. But, yeah, I mean, good luck to him. Yeah, I don't think this does anything. As a matter of fact, it is what it is. It's like putting lipstick on a pig, I guess, so it's fine.
Oh, shit.
Unlucky.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe they just want like just a breath of fresh air with some new talent, new players. I guess I think that's the only thing I think of to get out of the slump that they're in. But in terms of like the actual changes, I don't know how much better they'll actually be as a team. Which kind of sucks.
I'm with you on that.
And then DRX reactivates Flashback, and we talked about this already. Panic button to the Mac, but maybe it's because Stacks didn't want to IGL, and then it came down to something like that, Because that if that's not the case, then who the hell knows what's going on over there?
There's a lot of I'm telling you, there's a lot of coaches and IGL differences now. It's kind of interesting what's happening. Like I said, I think the power dynamics have kind of shifted in Valorant, which I'm really interested to see sort of how long this continues. Wish I could say the same for myself sometimes, but unlucky. Yeah. So good luck to them. I mean, Termy made the choice. Maybe they're better. I mean, it's going to be hard to be better than 5-0, and a few rounds away from 2-0ing Gen.G. But okay, cool.
It's going to be hard to be better than 5-0 is a good ass statement, bro. Boom.
It is what it is, bro. Unlucky.
Then we got, you guys dropping lenne, which don't think we touched on that, no? Did we not touch on that last week? I don't remember.
No, we did not.
But but it happened while the tournament was going on, and I just want to get your thoughts behind that change and everything, and why'd you drop them? Why'd you feel like it had to happen? Et cetera, because we were talking about 6-man roster stuff on this podcast earlier, and how you took advantage of it.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I
mean, I would have continued to this. I mean, yeah, it's just hard to manage personalities and egos. That's just probably the best thing I can say. And ultimately, if you're put in a position where you have to make a choice between the two, one of the things you're going to look at is map differential. And Surf was 8-4, Lenny was 3-8. I don't necessarily blame him for that, though, to be honest, because I think he played well in a lot of the 8 losses. But I mean, some people just aren't happy with their roles, and enough isn't enough. And I mean, ultimately, I don't really have a problem saying this honestly. I wasn't really the one that made the decision. I think it was ultimately a group one. I think everybody, wanted more consistency at the 5 spot, and I can say very openly I don't agree with it. I don't know why you would make a change. You're 4-1, keep the maps the same. There's about to be a new map. Haven's about to be in rotation. Silva's probably going to be one of the characters played on it. I don't necessarily think it's brilliant, but I understand, where people are coming from, and why I didn't side with Lenny. The map differential played a huge part in it. And it's unfortunate. It is what it is. But I would have also liked to keep him around. But personalities and like I said, like ego, like it's hard. It's very difficult to get young people to act very maturely when they don't get their way. And that isn't just Lenny too. I didn't have full autonomy on the decision, which is what I meant about the term me thing, right? I don't have full autonomy.
Yeah.
So my experience has taught me that, again, you don't hit panic button, but ultimately, especially if you're a coach, you have to also be mindful of like everyone else in the room, right? Because I'll say this, like, imagine if I didn't come here and we did that T2 thing with all those players, and there was a chance where like, you and let's say, like, I don't want to name any names because I don't want that, but like, let's say you and some of the guys that we know would have been on it that are cool, you guys are like, yo, we should replace this guy for that, right? If I don't think that's the case, I'm going to tell you no, and I'm going to like lay out all the stuff. But ultimately, if 3 of 5, 4 of 5 are like, nah, bro, we need to like, we would be better if we just can rock with one person throughout all of this. I may hate it, but yeah, I think I'm good enough as a coach to adjust to something like that. Like, I don't think that's going to like derail like how I coach or, maps or comps or anything. Then the other is like, I'm not a child. We're a team. So I've always believed in the utilitarian principle, like the more over the few. So it's not like this is like a bad thing. Just I felt, and I still feel like when everyone else is zigging, sometimes you should zag. And if everyone else is hitting the panic button, I don't think we should. And that I think is probably the biggest reason why I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, so, it sucks for Lenny. I think he's talented. I think certainly another team could. I mean, there's a lot of teams in this league, I think, that right now could use an IGL like him. I'll tell you that straight up. So what I think the perception is of him, I'm not necessarily sure it meets the reality of him. At least not 100%, but I do understand that there are big enough weaknesses that will prompt you to make a change, like I did. But I certainly think it's a tier 1 player. There is definitely room for improvement. But smart, hard worker, very good Sova. And I think when things are going well, he's a pretty good teammate. And, but I think, for us, people just felt like we needed one this season. So I think Surf fits. Because Surf has a lot of endearing qualities. Like, I'll give you an example of like one big thing that I think probably no one noticed and notices. But like when you think of Cruz and Lenny, they're very similar, actually. There's enough differences, but like on the outside, they're very similar, right? Surf is a great energy. He's like an injector of energy. So like, you saw the Talon content, right? With us, like, we got 13-0, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Did you see it? Okay. You saw how
I think I saw it,
positive
yeah.
Gov was? Yeah. So Gov
Yeah.
is like that. So is Surf. And
Mm.
on a personal level, I really like guys that are kind of, in a sense, like me, where like they're like this all the time. There's no like highs and lows. It's just always
Yeah,
like
ups
this.
and downs, yeah.
Yeah, so like some people hate that shit. Some people think you're, an asshole, or like you can't enjoy life, or like you're always unhappy, or it's not just that. It's just that sometimes it's hard to make good decisions when you're like emotional, right? So you try not to be as emotional. So we're 4-1. We're doing great. Everybody's like, "How do you feel?" Okay, we just lose to PRX. How do you feel? Unlucky. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the same. And I think Cruz, in some respect, and Lenny are like that, where like they're not very outwardly emotional people, and they internalize a lot of things. So I think Cruz is like, because he's around some of them, like Gov, for instance, for sure. He's like beginning to like kind of like acclimate to Gov's like personality in that sense. So it's not like he's like a robot, but you can imagine as a player, when you have a guy like Surf. Again, I don't know if you've watched all of our content, but if you've watched Surf's content pieces, he's like that all the time, right? He's pretty positive, loud. We're down 12-3, let's say. He's like, yo, we got this. Like, we're going to overtime. Or like, even if it's
the
a scrim, he's like, guys, we're not losing a scrim, right? And that's just like Gov. And sometimes you need people like that on the team. And I think that one of the biggest areas, in my opinion, that I think he made some ground in is on that interpersonal / like, like the best way to say this without trying to be rude or disrespectful, because I'm really not. It's just, some people have criticized even me as a coach, because again, all the things that we already talked about, right? Because I'm not that like, I'm not that guy to baby you, bro. I'm not about to sit here and like, when you're not doing well, go, oh, shucks, man, you'll get it next time. It's like, no, dude, there's not a lot of time. Stop effing around. We've already talked about, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my style. And obviously a lot of people don't like it, and it is what it is, and that's cool, but there's also another complete other style to that. And I think that we've talked about it slightly with Boostio. And I'll say that people like Governor and people like Surf, the energy they provide is actually really good. And people don't realize how important sometimes that is. And I think we had too many Ban, Lenny, Jit, Cruz. They're not those guys. They're more me than they will ever be Gov. And having another voice in the room when Gov is down. Because imagine, you know how it is sometimes when like the only guy that has energy is also down or tilted. You're cooked.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, I was about to say that. Like,
but we got another
like
guy,
Valorant, dude.
Yeah.
Gov isn't always that guy if he's not on one. You know what I mean? But Surf always is.
Right.
So.
Right. And that, I think, is really interesting.
Also, for what it's worth, Lenny is one of the nicest guys I ever met in esports. So sad to see him go.
Same. He's a good dude. He's a good kid, man. He's a good leader. Like, just
you got him straight out of ranked, right?
No, actually, I can't even take credit for this. I'm pretty sure. No. I knew about him from the Players on Secret, because one of the things I wanted to do was move Bash to Smokes and then get a Sova. He was one of the people that they thought of, and it didn't work out with them, and that's fine. And then we come here, and he beats him twice. Probably, definitely should have beat him 3 times, but it is what it is. So he got his revenge game, and all that stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, look, I look at the league, and I can name you 4 or 5 teams right now that I think could use an IGL like him. I'll tell you that right now. So whether or not they pick him up is an entirely different story. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Word. Well, we wish them the best of luck. Now we have the last roster change that we're going to be talking about. Oh, well, second to last, because we'll talk about coaching changes after this. I just want to focus on the players now. But M80 had Nitro step down, or he's not on the team anymore, and then they picked up Net, which is such a crazy change to make, like right as you're going into the last stage of the year for challengers. I mean, Nitro was IGLing this whole team the entire time, I believe. I don't know if that changed at some point, but it's to my understanding that he was IGLing. But making a change on IGLs like that, I mean, this is a fucking panic button move to the extreme. And I guess that's just what happens when you lose to like Turtle Troop, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I know a little too much about this, and I'm not at liberty to discuss all the details because I said I wouldn't. I was surprised and shocked, also saddened by it too. The thing I know I can say without getting into specifics is this was a clash of personalities and styles more than pure gameplay. So, you know, yeah, I mean, it's tough now all around, bro. Coaches and IGLs and teams and IGLs. It's pretty weird. I think it's also weird for me on forget this specific situation, but this is sort of it. When players say things like they don't want structure in 2024, I just can't, bro. I can't. I can't, bro. Bro, I've been hearing that since before First Strike, bro. And it used to tilt me then.
Yeah.
From players I never would have expected to say dumb shit like this. It's 2024. We're talking no structure, bro. You don't want. Crazy. No? Am I crazy? Honestly, Andre.
I don't think teams understand. I think they watch like teams like PRX like fucking doing crazy shit, but they don't realize that even those teams have structure. And it's just their own unique type of structure, but they do have it still. You know what I mean? Like even the teams that are wild and loose and they play loose and they have short leashes, there's still a structure behind it to enable that type of gameplay. You have to have structure.
Crazy.
There's no way that you can play the game without it. You can't just pug and win everything. It's not possible.
This is what I genuinely believe. Some people think that's their game. Some people actually believe that they can just wake up and, I used to say, I don't think many people in Valorant are like FGC guys, so even saying this reference. But like, there are some fighting game players that are notorious for basically like not studying frame data or like not to the degree of professional players. Obviously, they know their character's frame data for sure. And they know other characters' frame data so that they know how to punish it. But like, there are there are sequences of frame data in fighting games where like you can like, they call it a frame trap, where you could basically put somebody in a position where if they hit a button or don't do a certain action, your flow chart opens up and you just basically get to do a shit ton of damage because there's only one option and they need to know all the specifics in order to get there, right? It's kind of like chess in a way.
Yeah.
There's a big chess tournament happening right now, by the way. That's why I brought that up, because it's like all over my feed. But like chess is very similar, right? It's like you make a move and most of the time you know what the correct counterplay to your move is. But if they hit you with something and it's obviously a mistake, you're just like, oh, this might be game, right? What I find very funny is people think in FPSs you could do the same thing too, where like you could basically just go, yeah, I'm just gonna do this one thing, and I'm so good at this one thing that like we're just gonna win, bro. Just play off as if other players aren't good enough with their util now, or as if other players aren't good enough to basically like counter or anti-strat, or it's just so crazy to me that people think, especially on defense. People think on defense having protocol or like not being able to do the thing that those players like on Ascent that they basically just like to sit and whine, or be main. They want to be main fight. It's like, no, bro, you need to learn how to go mid. You need to learn how to be in the off angle with the pixel angle on cat. You need to learn how to be top box on heaven on A, right? And basically like you need somebody on
Back
site to basically break the dart. Yeah, like you need these positions because you're gonna get free kills if other elements of the game are working. You can't just do the A5 B5 thing, and you can't just go wine, which is actually terrible. It's good maybe 1 round and a half. There are some people that actually believe that this is just their game's play, and this is like what they're good at. And the moment you tell them, or the moment you basically go, no, I want you to play market more this game, or I basically want you to play mid 1 this game, or I basically want you cat more this game, these jet players, like, their brains turn off. Like, it's just like, no. And like, I just think that I've experienced that enough from my own, because like the examples I'm giving you now mainly are my own experiences with these sort of conversations. And, I'm alluding to that without giving too much information about what happened, to give people an example of what the conversation could be that can ultimately lead to something like this. And I just think it's sad that in 2024, I can even hear things like the structure is too much. That to me is just
I agree with you.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. But, it is what it is. I will say, though, picking up net was probably, I think, the best move they could have made given the circumstances.
Probably, yeah. Probably, honestly. Who else would you have gone? I mean, there's not a lot.
That's what I'm saying. But do I think it's going to be... I don't know. Do I think they're going to win Ascension? I'm not necessarily sure. I thought it was already going to be a battle. I think when you have Nitro and you have Nismo, I think you have a pretty good chance. Now I think it's a little bit harder. What do you think their odds are to even make it out now?
I would say of winning Ascension, their odds of winning Ascension, I think they've gone down by like probably more than half when they had Nitro. But I don't know, like who, like
I agree. With
obviously they could prove us all wrong, and then we can be stupid. Yeah, like, exactly.
Yeah,
like, I think Net is a very smart player. Because I've had the pleasure of talking to Net quite a bit, and he's actually really intelligent about the game. So I'm not worried about him and what he brings to the table for this team. I just think that when you start the year off and they have had like so much time with Nitro already,
the chemistry is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, and we're seeing the fallback of that already. I mean, like they've just lost to Blinn. No offense to Blinn, I love my boy Oki. He's really talented. He's up and coming duelist player, but I mean, that's a loss that I don't think that they would have ever lost if they had Nitro, in my opinion. This obviously are just our opinions.
I agree.
I don't think you ever lose this match with Nitro in it. Even if you're having complete turmoil within the team, which I'm not saying that was the case, but even with, let's say, personalities clashing and stuff, I think you still would win that series 9 times out of 10. But congratulations to Blinn for beating a team like Amedi, who was, honestly, people were looking at maybe potentially making it into franchise partnerships next year. I mean, they got second. If you think about it on paper, technically they were a contender, a top contender, and I mean they still were even with Nitro. They were top 3 the whole time. So, I mean, the midseason tournament didn't go their way and they lost to an unsigned team, but I mean, the gap is getting closer and closer, and the thing that breaks that gap apart is that structure that you can have. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we can just move on from contenders now. Yeah, tough. Good luck to them. Good luck to them, as you would say.
Luck to them. Good luck to them.
Good luck to them. Now we got Lev parting ways with their coach, goked, and I think this was. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I think goked was stressed out as well.
I don't know either.
And I think that maybe I think goked wanted to take a little bit of a baby step down and like not have to do as much. I don't know. That's what I was hearing around, is that like it was like just a lot of stress and etc., which makes sense. I mean, this team was built to win tournament. It was built to win championships, right? Because if you look at the writing, it said He's not currently looking for a team as head coach, but he's willing to consider offers for less demanding roles. So maybe he's just like, that dude was stressed. That's it, right? Dude was stressed. He was stressed out, bro. And I mean, it's not easy. You're a coach, and I get to have conversations with you behind the scenes, and you get to kind of vent to me a little bit, etc. You know what I mean? And I could tell it's not an easy fucking job at all. By any means, I don't think coaching is easy. I don't think people understand how hard it is to have to handle 5-6 different personalities and bring them together as one hive mind. I don't think people understand like everything that goes into the counter stratting. I don't think people understand even like just the vetoes itself is a whole nother war. There's so many aspects to coaching, and it's probably the most demanding and stressful role that you can have other than being an IGL on a roster.
Yeah. I'll be completely transparent here. I don't know shit about what's going on in Libya. I don't know any. I think it is weird. I'll say this. Leviathan, I've already said this here in predictions. I thought they had basically the best map pool in all of Valorant. They're the team that pretty much across all maps are basically at the same level on all the maps. Very rare and unique, and they had advantage all the time. I don't know whether that's the players. I don't know if that's the coach, but I will say it's a net benefit. Let's just assume that has more to do with coaching. May not. Just assume. Positive for him. Another thing is, I thought their set pieces, I thought their anti-stratting was also very good. On a personal level, I never looked at this team and ever, so far, haven't really questioned the coach. Like, sure, are there things that even on this show I questioned and I didn't like about what they did, right? Particularly like the weirdness of having, no disrespect to anyone, just being transparent here, a duelist that is kind of baiting, and then also a late lurker that is like 30 seconds late. Kind of weird. Not going to win very many rounds like that, right? Sure, maybe that could be a net negative on the coaching, and maybe he should have saw that or whatever. Okay, that's cool. But on a personal level, I thought the coaching on this team was pretty good. I think the league is very hard. I think certainly there with Aspas now comes expectation. Look, Leviathan for 2 years underachieved, basically.
Yeah.
So if they thought they were going to be world beaters this season, okay, I get it. But that has everything to do with Aspas, not anything else. Right? So I think given the circumstances and given what I can see, obviously I have limited information here because I don't actually know what's going on there. I don't think coaching was the problem. And I kind of respect everything I saw for the most part on a tactical level from Leviathan. Are there micro decisions I didn't like from players? Sure. But I've also been very complimentary of the team, the way it was put together, and all of those players, right? Because there's a period where I was Com's biggest defender. There's a period where I was also very critical. But I love Com. I think Com's a good, very good player, right? So this is not to me, I think, even you'll back me on this, it was more a mesh thing I thought could be a problem, like a conflict of play styles, less than like, oh, this player's bad, that player, So I'm saddened to see what's happened here because I think it is unfortunate that you, let's just say, hit the pause button on your dream because of stress, right? Now, I totally understand it. I'm not calling him weak. Trust me, I have been there. I have been, I can write a book on the bullshit. Trust me.
Yeah.
So I can understand, but it's sad because I think, in my opinion, it must have been really bad and gotten so serious that you have to do that because most people don't want to ever do something that drastic. And also, I'm sure, I don't know this person. I don't know anything about this person, but I have a feeling based on some of the interview things I've heard, and obviously I speak Spanish, so like I can understand, I think he's a good enough guy that I don't think he would want to fuck over the players either. But it must have been so bad, or this was just PR nonsense to just make it not look bad and the players wanted to get rid of him, which I have no idea. So I'm assuming, based on the fact that I didn't really question them and I kind of respected what I saw tactically and all that stuff, I assume the players did too, and I assume it's more the first thing I said, not the shit that I bitched at with Na'Vi regarding Doombros. If you remember how I'm just like, bro, I just hate this PR. Everyone knows this is like just PR bullshit. Like, come on, man. Like, for them, for us, for your fans, like, just, you know, stop the cap. Yeah, it sucks for Leviathan because I also had high expectations of them. I'm sure they had high expectations themselves. And I think they're not too far away. So it's unfortunate to see, like, I don't know this is a panic button, but it's unfortunate to see something like this happen in the middle of a season. I don't think that's good for anyone involved, but, you know, it sucks.
I mean, esports, I mean, like, listen, it may not be physically demanding, but it definitely takes a toll on the mental. And then maybe he just needed to just take a break. I mean, I'm hoping it was that, but it also does suck, like you said, that has to be the case when, they were doing good. And I think they're still really good. They still have a really good chance of like, honestly being that world beater team.
Yeah,
I just think
don't want to get too intricate.
This performance they had this tournament. Yeah.
Sorry, it was a delay. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. Yeah, I know it's delayed, but we'll just pick it up. I don't even think they played that bad in this tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
It's so tough. Yeah. I don't want to get too intricate into this, but, like, I think also the thing I thought was interesting was that he's willing to, like, consider offers, but for less demanding roles. And what I think what's said there, in my opinion, is, and this is why I believe everything I said to you about the tactical stuff. I think people underestimate. I'm currently having this problem right now, actually, because I don't have a big staff, right? I technically have never had a big staff on Valorant, because even on 100 Thieves, people will know I had Jovi and all that stuff. But, like, what people don't realize is I was paying for Jovi out of my pocket for almost the first year, right? Wow. And then I ended up convinced. So then after we won First Strike, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, so you need an assistant coach. Like, okay, cool, you know. But, like, people don't realize not only the time, and this is not just for a coach. Like, I'm not just speaking for a coach. I'm also speaking for players, because obviously, you know, my time at F3 here, I've been around players. People don't realize that this life looks cool. It really sucks. It actually sucks. The two benefits of this are, one, you get to play video games. You get to, like, if you're passionate for video games and love video games, you get to live out that experience, which is fucking amazing. That I can tell you. The second thing about it is obviously the money, right? Some people will go for the clout. That's the third. I've never, you know, it is what it is. Like, you guys, UNC were the first ones that ever convinced me to actually do this shit, right? So, you know, so the clout I can't speak for, but I'm streaming, all that stuff is also attached to money, right? So I'll just leave that there. But people don't realize are the personal sacrifices. Like, I can speak to this myself. The personal sacrifices I've made for loved ones, like chicks, my family, like all that stuff, no one will ever know. No one will ever understand, because I'll give you my day. I woke up 9 a.m. Normally, I go to the gym, right? From the gym, I come here. Practice basically starts at 12, right? We do VOD review, lab work. Then they get like 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes to warm up. Then it's scrim. So it's basically scrim. So like 3 scrims, break, 3 more scrims, we wrap it up. By the time we're done, it's 10 o'clock at night. You know what I do normally then? Either prepare tomorrow's practice, play some video games myself to unwind, VODs, call a chick, talk to someone, call your family. By midnight, I'm in bed, do the same shit again. Now imagine doing this shit since 2011. And at one point on F3, I was coaching 3 divisions: Counter-Strike, fighting games, and Rocket League at the same time. Right? Because we're paying our money. I blew up, bro. I have a video, which I probably I'm gonna send to you, see, to play this, bro. I blow up to 240 something pounds, bro. Because I'm casually eating with Counter-Strike, casually eating with Rocket League, casually eating with my FGC guys at night, taking them to NLBC in New York City basically every Wednesday, as an example. Like, I'm driving them myself, taking them there. I'm also playing the games, learning the games with the players at the time, right? Because, like, obviously you're spending your money. You got to, like, I take shit serious. So, like, for me, I don't have like a cooldown button. It's just basically I'm either no or 100% all in. That's just my problem. I have no happy medium. This is what people have been complaining about me my whole life, and it just is what it is. It's just byproduct of how I am, how I was raised, being a part of New York City, like all that stuff, right? So, but like that video of you seeing me play Daigo on stage, first off, you have to reach him, right, at a Red Bull event. Second off, just look at me. I look terrible, right? But how does that happen? That happens because of, again, the personal sacrifices, the time investment you make. You don't do things like, you don't worry about your eating. You don't worry about the gym. You don't worry about all these other factors. So people really, like, that's kind of where the social media aspect and kind of all the negativity I always thought is just so ridiculous, because people actually don't know. And that's probably why, on a personal level, I empathize with him so much, because I've been there multiple times. I just never, in some sense, in some ways, I never had the courage, I think, to do what he did because of the sunk cost fallacy. I always thought if I quit or if I like took a break, my career would be over. Maybe that is just stupid.
Yeah.
Right. But that same environment I'm talking about can also lead to, sometimes when you're dealing with young players, sometimes you just don't have the patience or the time to just be nice. And sometimes you just go, fuck off. And then that guy hates you forever. And now you just created a whirlwind of shit. But they don't realize all the shit that you've done, all the shit that you're doing on the back end, right? Like, because the experience I just told you about Talon, that's been every day since I've been here, since October, basically. Mm-hmm. Right? I had 2 weeks of a break going to NA like a few weeks ago, right? I did the fucking podcast while at Universal. Went back to the hotel, did the podcast at Universal with you and Redgar. I have friends and family that like that. These are the sacrifices that you make ultimately, And by the way, I did a vacation. I'm still watching scrims, still giving notes, still making YouTube videos of like, yo, guys, I didn't like what we did here. I didn't like what we did there. Like, you send it, So I feel like everyone needs to start realizing the tragedy that happened last year, if you know what I'm talking about, hint, hint, with one of the players, because things got so bad.
It was actually, yesterday was the anniversary of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, people don't realize that like all of these players,
the boy.
Yeah. Look at like, I didn't want to say, cause I don't really know what's like kosher or not, but like, T was arguably one of the better players, not only on his team, but in Europe last year. Like, I was super surprised by his play. And then now you look at this goked problem, Demon 1 has been rumored. You knew about TENS last year and the year before with all the interpersonal stuff that's happening, like around that stuff. I feel like the Valorant, the Discord around Valorant and the conversations about like, oh, this guy sucks, fire this dweeb, or like this player's trash, or this. I feel like people don't realize the other side of that. And that's why, on a personal level, that's why I said it kills me. And I feel so bad for this guy that he basically has to hit the reset button on his dream.
Yeah.
Even though someone like me, an outsider, sees it and goes, I kind of think tactically they were good.
Doing a good job.
Yeah. So like, if the players are like, bro, this guy's dog shit, I'm like, damn, that's weird. Maybe I'm dog shit, because I kind of, so it's like, yeah, I mean, so it just sucks on a personal level as a dude in the industry and as somebody that like, can understand where he's coming from. Sucks, because this is the most competitive year in Valorant and they're like this close. They're not even that far, bro.
Yeah, they're very close. I mean, I honestly do feel like it just came down to honestly mechanics. I feel like it came down to mechanics, and that could just be, you know, being on an international stage, not you're not comfortable to your setup. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, but that doesn't mean that, like you said, you're this close. That's
Right.
you made a perfect segue though, because we're talking about mental health and everything, and like how the community in Valorant, and this is not just Valorant, it's almost every game that I've played. Going back to Overwatch as well, they can be very critical on performances, on the players, without knowing everything that we do to go through it. And you gave a little glimpse of it, right? And we could go on for hours about this shit. But you know, we had this thing with Yinsu and Kaquka, who were basically just speaking up about it because, you know, I mean, Sue was very cool with Twistin as well. We could just say his name. It's everything's kosher, you know. It happened, right? And like I said earlier, this gaming might not be physically demanding, but we are using our brain the entire time, and we're sitting in a chair all day long, every day. I mean, in Overwatch League, bro, dude, you're talking about getting that. I don't know what the phrase was, but it's kind of like if you don't play or you don't take advantage of your opportunity for even just a week, you know, you feel like you might get left behind. And in Overwatch,
Right,
bro,
yeah.
I truly felt like if I wasn't playing 16 hours a day, which I never played 16 hours a day up until Overwatch League, but I saw Korean players doing it. I felt like if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't start. And honestly, that was probably the case. If I didn't play 16 hours a day, I probably wouldn't have started, because there's a kid that's playing 16 hours a day that's on my team, hungry, waiting, and ready to fucking get off the bench and take my spot, you know, and that's the reality of the situation. So, you know, thank God I knew about going to the gym, all these things that could help with my mental health. And like, I actually did a lot of mental health work while I was in Overwatch League, to like bring more light to the situation, because it's really serious. And, you know, I don't think people realize how much effort that, like, we put in so much effort that even if you just like, if you try to tear us down and everything, that could just make us snap like that. You know what I mean? That could be it. You could really have an effect on us deeply. That's dangerous, or can be dangerous. And I've never had thoughts like that, you know, in my head personally, but I understand the amount of stress that's put on us. And if you're not ready for that, man, like it can take over your whole life, you know? So, I mean, dude,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
had
tough.
it one time, which we'll talk about probably some other time, because I'm sure another situation will come up and we'll talk about, but it had something to do with investment, because F3 almost got investment and then it didn't. The rug got pulled out last minute, and yeah, it was bad.
Felt like your life, you probably felt like your life was over. Yeah,
it was tough for sure.
But we talked about it in last week's podcast, how, like, you know, we talked about it from an organizational standpoint, about how, like, you know, if they're reading Reddit and stuff like that, and like our jobs can be taken away from us because of some stupid petty comments. Yeah. We spoke about that, but I don't think people realize that there is actually a correlation, and like, just as easily as you guys can blow players up, like you can blow up tens, you can blow up like me when I was during my Schmieg era, like when shit is nice, you know what I mean, and you guys are riding our dick, you know what I mean, shit can get really nice, but in the same way, you can make our lives a living hell. On top of the fact that we're literally playing nonstop 24 hours a day. If you're not even if you're not playing, you're a coach, you're doing this shit nonstop 24 hours a day. I mean, dude, when I made this switch to being a caster for this year, and by the way, I'm going to stress this, I'm not saying I'm done playing pro. You know, I don't think that boat has sailed, that ship has sailed. But, dude, during the day when I had free time, I had no idea what the fuck to do with my life. I was so used to doing what you said: wake up early, go to the gym if I even wanted to, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, that's sometimes it's hard, because when you're up so late the previous night, it makes you not want to go to the gym. You know what I mean? That's why you got to build that discipline. But I would hop straight onto the fucking game, bro. Like, but it wasn't like I woke up and it was like chill, and like I like, you know, was just like slowly getting into things. It was like, nah, wake up, go. You know what I mean? I'm like going. It was like even that in itself is stress. Like jumping out of bed is causing your body stress. Like I didn't know how to like just sit there and be like, okay, I can take the 15, 30 minutes in the bathroom to really like brush my teeth slow and like splash water on my face. Nice, bro. I would wake up, boom, brush my teeth like quick, fucking boom, 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 wash my face, take a piss, take a shit. Oh, okay, I'm going. Like make a coffee. Now I'm on the game. I'm already in DM. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what to do with my life during those first like 2-3 weeks that I was off, and I really had to like try to get myself to like I had to tell myself, yo, just slow down. And like now I feel like, I'm way less stressed for sure and everything like that. But it was definitely a change that was so crazy because dude, I've been on go mode since I was like 15, 16, dude, playing these games. Like that's how long I've been competing. And it was a big change of pace, let me tell you that. And I also realized I'm like, God damn, bro, I've been sitting in a chair my whole life. All of a sudden I'm feeling my hips. Like my hips are fucked, bro. Like I gotta start doing I gotta start doing stretches and shit. It's bro, it's taxing, man. So I guess it is kind of physically demanding over time, Man, I saw this picture that I got sent from someone in your camp, and I saw the way Ban played, and he plays with a monitor like this, bro. He plays with a monitor like this, bro. And his neck, bro, he looks like one of those guys that goes in the movie theater that sits in the front row. Bro, I'm looking at this and I'm like, bro, there's no way he's not going to have neck problems down the road. You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, gaming is, it could be the most fun gig ever, but it's also a really demanding gig in terms of the amount of stress it puts on your brain and sometimes even on your body. In terms of like your physical health,
Yeah, it's so. The thing about this Yinsu thing that I think is the most intriguing is I actually think it was good for both of them to come to his defense. On a personal level, I have to be careful because this is a landmine I stepped on already. So like a bunch of years ago, I basically was on Valoranting with Minnie, and I talked about like, has he ever thought about replacing Boaster? Because at the time on 100 Thieves, anytime anything went bad, everyone literally would say replace Steel, replace Hiko. For some reason, they got the most hate. And literally, bro, we lose a map. It's like, yo, you got to replace these bums. You got to pick up, insert name. And I'll just say that, birdies have told me over time that, like, he wasn't really happy about that. So over the years, it's been, so, if I really felt that way, this is a perfect opportunity to be like, bro, it's time for FNATIC to like move on. The funny thing about it is I actually don't think so because I understand that his numbers aren't great. Just like you even heard on this show, I make fun of some of my players that went 4-20 in losses and all that stuff. I'm like, yo, this shit's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, IGLs have so much going on. And also, tactically, you and me have talked about, some of the things that are going on FNATIC that we can see and sort of the challenges sometimes that are being taken that we necessarily haven't agreed with and all that stuff. And that all can't be on the IGL. So without trying to create more controversy about this, I understand that Boaster hasn't played particularly well in a lot of these losses, for sure. But I will also say, same thing I said about NRG, FNATIC is not too far away. You want to win champs. You don't give, like, Shanghai is not, you want to win champs. Is replacing Boaster the best thing to do now? Let's just talk about like Valorant X's and O's, right? So replace Boaster and get a better player, right? Does that make you better? I don't actually know. Why? Because, okay, now you have to redo chemistry. Okay, let's say Leo, who last year I thought he was the best player in the world. I think he's certainly, one of the better players now. I don't think he's playing as well as I thought he did last year. But let's say he takes over as IGL. Let's say you get somebody. Let's say you get another aimer, because this is what everybody likes to do. They just want to get aimers. Okay. You have to hope this guy has enough experience that he can handle the pressure of doing all that stuff, right? Let's say you get somebody that has the experience and has better aim and all of that stuff. Okay, cool. How much better do you think you are? Like, does FNATIC instantly go to the best team in the world? Right? In my opinion, I don't think there's anyone available on the available market in free agency in EU that makes them noticeably better. Right? And that much better that I'm like, it's a no-brainer. Right? So you remember how I said, like, oh, you got rid of Nitro, but you had Net sitting there. Okay, cool. Right? So, some people are going to say, well, look at Heretics and look at PattyTech. Why don't you just put PattyTech there? Right? Okay, let's start with that. Let's just go FNATIC, go all in on PattyTech. Okay, I think you already know what I think about PattyTech. You've already know all the stuff I think, about him and how he's doing, and how I was not worried about the loss of Mini Boo, because I very early on said they're going to be fine. This guy's a good player, all that stuff. Let's just continue the rhetoric that, like, he should get out of here and he should add PattyTech. Okay, is PattyTech that much better than him that things like chemistry, timing, let's say tactical awareness? Because tactical awareness is important, because if me and you have been on a team for 3 years, I can run a play from 3 years ago in a situation.
Yeah.
Right? Without having a macro or micro. I could just be like, yo, we're going to run this setup. So, for instance, I installed a play on 100 Thieves. So, quick sidebar.
Okay.
I believe it was Heretics. Heretics ran a play on Ascent that we ran on 100 Thieves literally 3 years ago. And I saw it and was like, oh, shit. I literally reinstalled it this week because I completely forgot about it. I was like, oh, my God, this is like exactly our play. Right? Being able to do that on a team, people don't realize deeper in tournaments, crazy value add. People do not even realize the importance of, like, yo, you remember that game plan that we put in for this team? Yo, we should do this against this matchup because we don't have a lot of time. They play the same, blah, 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 blah. You lose that when you add PattyTech, right? So, like, and deeper in tournaments, believe it or not, that stuff matters more than mechanics, because it's like an anti-strap fest. And when you're able to bypass someone's anti-strap by giving them a completely different look, by all of a sudden changing identities, changing protocols, changing cadences, that stuff fucks up teams more than, like, a good aimer at a particular spot. Trust me, because you can avoid good aimers. You don't even have to take bad fights. You just util dump, blah, 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 using ult for the post plant, and then if you're lucky, you just win the round. And it's like, damn, these guys had 5 aimers. How do you beat them? Like, because if the 5 aim problem was the thing, then PRX would have won everything always, right?
Yeah.
So even if you did that, that doesn't make FNATIC better. Now, do I have opinions on what FNATIC is doing that is bad? Yeah, I've talked about it some on the show, and yes. And
for sure.
Does some of that blame fall on Boaster? Sure. As an IGO, maybe he has to get better. But is he already considered and is one of the best IGLs in Europe? And the answer should be yes. And if the answer is yes, then replacing one of the best IGLs mid-season is not, in my opinion, the smart thing to do. So I don't even understand where the hell this all came from. Now, do I know that, it's not all peachy and FNATIC and, they talked about these things before? Sure. And the thing is, it may sound like I'm defending the detractors here, but I'm more just speaking about just the blanket statement of, like, this life is hard. We just kind of talked about it earlier. But the other part of it is there's a lot of expectation. And Boaster, like me, look, I've gotten the blame for so much in Valorant. Whether it's my fault, not my fault, it doesn't matter. The perception is I'm trash. So, it is what it is. You got to live with the result, and you got to just, like, just do your job, do better, blah, 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 blah. Eventually, if the narrative changed, great. If it doesn't, you're just trash. Right? Like, so Boaster, on one end, I'm sure Jake understands that his performances are not acceptable even for him, right? He doesn't need a Twitter demon to tell him this. You know what I mean? Like, he has to look at
Literally, yeah.
himself. He has to look at his teammates. He knows. But if a guy is still one of the better, sometimes you're going to just have to live with the result. And I think it's almost disrespectful to, like, Valorant, to all the other EU teams, that, like, every time FNATIC lose, it's like, blow this team up. Guys, do we know how, like, I don't think people realize how good some of these teams have gotten and how good this era of Valorant. Bro, this is the most competitive era in Valorant ever. And I say that while also simultaneously saying I see the most brain dead stuff in Valorant I've ever seen in all my years. Why? Because people mechanically have gotten so gifted that they get to do dumb stuff. So on one end, I can say this is the most competitive era in Valorant. On the other end, I can say I'm also seeing some of the most brain dead stuff. Both sentences, in my opinion, are true, and I can prove them with, like, examples of what I'm saying, right? So FNATIC losing or not winning Shanghai does not mean blow that roster up. That roster is still arguably, if not one of the top 3, most certainly, I'm sure, one of the top 5 rosters in all of Valorant. Why would you risk a championship in August by breaking it up now for a marginally better, even if you think Patty Tech is much better? What you lose on the other side has to factor into what you gain on the plus side. It is still a marginable difference. So if you want to reintroduce this conversation in the off season, okay, fine, whatever. But the notion that
different, yeah,
right. But the notion that he's not good enough to play now or not good enough to IGL here or that you should replace him is insane to me. Given, first off, they were on life support stage 1, right? Everybody, or kickoff stage 1. Everybody was like, this team's trash. All of a sudden, they come roaring back. That's just kind of what he does. So I defend Yinsu in particular. Forget the personal stuff. I don't care about their personal relationship when I'm making this opinion. Every one of us, me, you, Yinsu, we all should be defending him in this way because of, I think, the things that I've mentioned. It's not the same as someone that has been underperforming for like 2 or 3. You know, the people that are like living off legacy that for 2 or 3 years are kind of like paycheck stealers. I don't even think
he's not one of those.
Exactly. You can't. So like, there's evidence to the contrary. So at the very base, even if you dislike him, I think the arguments I've laid out should at least be enough for people to just be like, okay, chill. But then on the other side of that, it's, you know, I think she made up some really good points, first off. Second off, I also think as a Valorant person, I think it's grossly underestimating his ability and that team's ability if you just assume that you can just pick up a guy off the street and they're just going to be better. That's kind of not how it works. Sure, you can make an argument PRX did that, right? PRX got rid of Benkai. You know, here comes something. Sure. But that is, I think, you know, that's more, I think, lightning in a bottle than I think something you can just easily replicate. So
I agree with that.
Now, beyond the Valorant, I think all the things that we talked about like the interpersonal shit and sort of like, I think, like the other side of it. Yeah, I feel bad for him in that regard, but I've also seen it this year with Lenne, with Cruz, to much a smaller degree, right? Because FNATIC is, you know, FNATIC. And
they're under a magnifying glass of immaculate proportions.
Right. Talon yet isn't under that same microscope, but I felt it for those guys. And even though I'm out here on this show basically like, yo, this shit is unacceptable. We can't be having people going 4-19, 5-19, you know, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That would seem like, you know, it's hurtful to these guys. Right. The benefit that we have as a group is we're kind of like this with each other, right? Like we hold everybody accountable. But at the same time, even rhetoric like that is and can be harming depending on the circumstance. And I think on a personal level, I feel bad for him in that respect. But on a competitive and professional level, I don't. And it's not that I don't agree with Yinsu. It's that this life is hard. Fans are brutal. Social media is not going to change, even though obviously I don't agree with it, and I don't like sometimes the knee-jerk reactions and stuff and all that things that come with it. But also, in some regards, we get paid the money we get paid basically to deal with those feelings, if that makes sense. Right? Like, you get paid the high salaries now, right? You get paid the high salaries to deal with the bullshit, to have high expectations. It's basically like to me, high expectations are negative. Like, we get paid good money to deal with all the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No one is going to pay you just for good stuff, right? If you think about it that way. So there is an element of, as a competitor, I think we all need to understand, and this even can tie back into Goked and like what happened at Leviathan. We just need to understand this is part of the job. And if this is the career that we want, this is not going to change. People are not going to change. Does that mean they're right? Most of the time, absolutely not. Most of the time, I don't agree with the rhetoric, especially. Right? Now, you can call me contrarian, you can call me an asshole, you can call me whatever, but I don't agree with a lot of the Reddit hot takes most of the time. Every now and again, some people have ones I agree with, and, you know, it is what it is.
There's some normal takes out there.
Yeah. But it's,
well, I mean,
this stuff is not going to change.
Yeah. I mean, I had the pleasure to hang out. Yeah. So I have had the pleasure to hang out with both of them the last couple of days. Like, we've been hanging out, going to the mall, going to spas, chilling. And I could tell you 100% as a fact that Boaster is not affected by any of this stuff at all. Actually, he because it, like you said, it comes with the job, and he understands that. People need to understand Boaster is he's a professional, bro. He's a professional. You know, right. He's mature. He's really mature about everything. He knows not to read this stupid shit. You know, like the bad comments. He could honestly give two fucks. He cried because he truly was like, he really wanted to fucking win the event. I mean, and I'm sure it plays into that, you know, thing that you're talking about, Larry. Like, yeah, he probably knows that he could have stepped up individually better, right, in certain moments. But the thing is even if you look at their loss that they had against Gen.G specifically, I mean, they were in the driver's seat that entire fucking time, bro. And he had really big moments. Although he's not getting a lot of kills on the leaderboard, if you look at some of the rounds that FNATIC convert, I mean, he converted a bunch of 1v1s. He almost 1v3 to keep them in the game and go into overtime on that Breeze map against Gen.G. He almost 1v3 to do that. So, like, yeah, he's not getting a lot of kills, but the impact that he's getting with the kills that he's getting is pretty fucking high. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's a lot of people in Reddit that just like to just go on VLR or whatever, or Spike.GG, whatever it is, look at the stat line from the match, and then deduct everything from that match without even watching it. I think that's my biggest problem that I have with this, is like, actually watch the match and then tell me if you think FNATIC played bad from a strategic standpoint. And I'm not saying that they don't, like, that they're perfect. You know, obviously, like, I don't agree with them picking Lotus against Foot, just in terms of the map veto and even the way that they like to play that map of Lotus. But I'm just saying, it's like, you can't just look at stats and then take all that and be like, oh shit, IGL. You know what I mean? Like, this is not how this shit works, man. And it's triggering. But I think a lot of people just like to troll players, and yeah, they just don't care about the consequences of the fallback that could happen. But yeah, I mean, we'll move on from that, because I feel like it's just a very vocal minority of people that are attacking players like that. I feel like the majority of players in the scene and et cetera. I think we actually agreed with Yinsu's post, and so we had 100 Thieves versus Foot, which was a decimation, an absolute decimation. 100 Thieves just fucking rolled them. Had their way with them pretty much.
Yeah. I pretty much knew that all the top seeds would struggle, but I was very surprised that 100 Thieves beat Foot the way that they beat them. I did not see that one coming.
Someone in the YouTube comments called you the Jim Cramer of predicting 100 Thieves.
I will say, I didn't think it was going to be this fucking bad. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but I thought for sure 100 Thieves are going to win. Okay, it's well, we kind of talked about it. Like we set it up
because they struggled.
Well, so I think we set it up in terms of, we knew that if 100 Thieves came out the gate shooting straight, you know what I mean? Like individual mechanics are on point, like it wasn't an A. Then I think we both thought that there was a good chance that 100 Thieves could win. But I think that if they came out the gate slow, I thought, okay, maybe Foot can win like the first map, and then win on their map pick, maybe, or like something of the sort, right? Like maybe they could close out the series. But I thought for sure that if 100 Thieves showed up shooting, they were gonna out aim, and I think their macro is already better than Foot, because we already talked about how Foot isn't as strategic as they were last year. I think we see that in this gameplay for sure.
Yeah.
And I just know with these 100 Thieves guys, they got some real fucking shooters. And when I mean shooters, bro, like Cryo popped the fuck off, bro.
Yeah. I just thought all the 1Cs would lose. I thought the best team that had the chance to win was PRX. Because remember, it wasn't even against 100 Thieves. I just thought all the 1Cs would lose, and pretty much all of them lost except for 100 Thieves, and that was a beatdown. I was shocked by that. I was like, oh, wow. Because you're sitting on ice for more than a week. That's just, the format's bad. Yeah. So I think if I'm the Jim Cramer for getting 100 Thieves wrong, yeah, okay, cool. But like, it's not like I thought this team, I certainly did not think this team would make it this far, because I certainly think this team would have run into, we'll talk about it with what happened with Gen.G. But like, yeah, I just think every team that has been placed in front of them, they've done their job, and that is commendable for sure, and that's great. I still, I have reasons, and everybody might think it's because of my past. One of my best friends is still manager at 100 Thieves, Ryan Marty. Shout out to Marty. I want him to succeed. I want, if of all the NA teams, the one I want to succeed the most is 100 Thieves because of him. Right? I just, when we talk about the show, I just think, in my opinion, I think really Veto first, then I think Valorant and tactics and all that stuff. So, it's just, that's just kind of where my head goes.
Yeah.
And I really definitely thought for this segment that all the 1Cs were going to lose, and it was because I know what it's like to sit on ice while teams are hot and playing every day, and then you play them, and then they start off fast, you start off slow, and then so yeah, I mean, very impressive win, not only Cryo, but just very impressive from them in general. And aim-wise, yeah, obviously we know that's like arguably one of the best things about this team is that when it comes to mechanics, they're pretty high on the list of like teams.
Yeah, they're nice.
But yeah, I certainly didn't see it coming. Unlucky. But the rest of the number 1 seeds did lose. I just thought that the best team that had the chance at the 1 seed wasn't 100 Thieves. I thought it was PRX, but I did point out, obviously, that they trolled with G2. And what did I say in our last show? Every single team should have picked, if you had the chance, Foot. It just so happened that 100 Thieves picked them, and I didn't have 100 Thieves losing because of Foot. I had 100 Thieves losing because of the format.
Yeah, the first seed. Yeah.
But I still did have them losing. So if I'm Jim Cramer for that, unlucky, bro. But yeah, I really thought that all these teams would start slow, and that the bottom seeds would have really big advantage going into that. And it's tough. Like I genuinely thought that all the 1Cs would lose, and I just happened to not be correct. But it was to me, so far, I think this has been the biggest surprise for me as a Valorant person in all of Shanghai. because I never thought, bro, this was like 13-2, 13-5 or something. When I talk about an epic level stomp, I did not see that coming at all.
Literally,
so props to them. Good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was like,
I agree.
fuck,
I
bro.
agree.
This team is on one.
Yeah.
Like, but if you remember, we did talk about this. I still didn't think they'd be Gen.G. And again, this is not hating on 100 Thieves. It's just styles at this level, and map vetoes are pretty important. And, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Speaking of Gen.G, we had FNATIC versus Gen.G, which I actually voted FNATIC to win. And when and when I saw the map pool as well, I was like, they have a really good chance, man. Like, I thought for sure, bro. Like, when they won Lotus, I thought for sure, I was like, they're gonna close it out on bind. They're gonna close it out on bind, and it kind of looked like they were gonna do that. Yeah, like they were down 5-1 on their attack side of bind. They managed to salvage the half, go 6-6, and then I was like, oh, now it's full momentum, full steam ahead.
And they win pistol.
They end up winning the pistol round. Exactly. And now they're sitting at, it's like 10-4. It's like 10-4 or something at some point of this game. But then Gen.G just slowly crawl back, and like, I mean, I think massive props to Gen.G for being able to come back, but I just
but
feel
to be
like
honest, this was a texture game.
Could have closed this one out. Yeah,
he just diffed them. He just, I mean, almost every round in their attack, they opened up like 5v4. Like, that's just, you can't have that happen on defense. So Breeze, I thought FNATIC should have won. They played better, but bind. I mean, weird.
Some of the rounds on defensive bind, like FNATIC were up like 5v3 on a round where if they won, like, all of a sudden the economy is bad for Gen.G, and then you're able to like snowball a little bit. But then Gen.G, they just like do this walking approach. Like, they kind of re-cleared Dirk, who was like short A.
I told you,
after
bro.
Like pushing your tower. Bro, this walking approach, if you get caught sleeping at the wheel, bro, like you're fucked. You're actually fucked. I've
been saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. There was gonna be a post I was gonna make, but I didn't want to do it because I was getting fucking Omega flamed. And I didn't want it to seem like I was trying to fucking dick ride Gen.G right after, because I'm gonna stand on my business. But they do a really good job of making you take a 50-50, where if you lose the 50-50, you probably lose the fucking round. And that's right. That is the scariest thing about a team, bro. Because even when they're down numbers, if you take that 50-50 and let it go to a 4v4, and they get A side on Breeze, or sorry, B side on Breeze, all of a sudden their post plant, you're not getting through. Like, you're just not getting through. So it's really it's a really unique play style. It's crazy.
It's old Sentinels, I told you. It's old Shazam Dapper Sentinels. It's very hard to deal with. And it's been a struggle for teams to adjust to, and this is pretty much the biggest reason why I told you when they're going to struggle. 100 Thieves is going to struggle, mainly because of the silent walk-ups, because Cryo's already a very passive opper, which means that when they hit the target, it'll be a little bit deep. I have a healthy amount of respect for what Gen.G are doing. I know how tough it is to play against. I don't think NA teams yet are ready for it. Do I think NA, like, by Worlds champs, I think Gen.G needs to evolve, because if not, like let's talk about 100 Thieves. If they play them again at champs, I actually think 100 Thieves are winning, because they at least have different methods and modes. They have different styles. They can play fast, they can play slow, they can play walk up, they can play loud and pivot. Like, Gen.G has like a play style, but they're so good at that play style, and it's so hard to disrupt them to get them out of that play style, that, you know, that's why you need, like, I know this is going to sound kind of funny, but like, that's why you need like an Osboss. You need a hyper aggressive opper, I think, to put them in their place early enough that it then causes a ripple effect, because they can't do all the silent walk ups that they like to do. That's why I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Which by the way, I got flack from this from the EMEA fans. I was stressing the fact that on the defensive side of Breeze, especially with the way that Durka was playing, I was like, I kept saying it on the broadcast. I didn't say it as much as people are making it out to be. People over exaggerate, but I'm like, get a defensive op, bro, because the way that Durka was playing, he was actually
FNATIC,
he was in a lot of good spots where it was kind of like that. It wasn't too passive. It was like that middle ground of aggression, like that little elbow off angle, right? There's like a crucial round. I think it was maybe even the last round that they played, where like he was holding an off angle with a rifle, and it was so similar to the round that I was talking about on Bind, where like he kind of just got caught sleeping at the wheel. And Gen.G, they're ready on the reclears, like their crosshairs are ready for like any type of off angle, etc. Right? That's something that Texture is really good at, in my opinion, is like clearing off angles. If you have an op in that scenario, like you said, you disrupt the entire round. You get a pick before anything. I mean, look. I'm not saying that they couldn't have peeked him and still taken him out if he was opping, but the chances of you getting that kill are significantly higher, right? It's got to be at least like a 80-20. 80-20. Maybe if the guy peeks you perfectly and he crouch peeks you and it's insta, maybe. But I mean, there's so many times where you could have picked up an op, gotten a little bit ahead of certain smokes, gotten an early first blood. Now you have the advantage. Now you can play a passive angle, wait for the hit, and you just win. And also, I mean, first of all, Breeze is the best map to op on the defensive side.
Don't even get me
on the attacking side as well. It's the best.
Don't even get me started on Durka, bro. Don't even get me started. I'm just gonna withhold any. I'm just gonna say yes. You know exactly where I'm going if I'm placing any blame. It's bro. Don't. Yeah, but that's why if you look at Gen.G got destroyed by Leviathan on Icebox. You know why? Because Aspas doesn't let you get comfortable, bro. Mm-hmm. And I thought tactically that was a slight mistake from 100 Thieves, and I can get into specific rounds where I'm like, dude. But like in general, if you look at the play styles, that's why Leviathan destroyed Gen.G on Icebox. So I was a little bit saddened by the fact that I think 100 Thieves, bro, they played their game. They played the same way they've played consistently, and the problem with that is you're giving space. You're giving silent walk up space to the wrong team.
Too much of it, and way too much of it.
Yeah, and Texture is just explosive. So once he gets,
it can feel so. Yeah. It can feel so hard to want to play aggressive early on, especially if you're like not confident. But I feel like if you're going into that matchup against Gen.G, you have to be. I mean, you have to have a big ball sack, man. You have to fucking you have to be willing to go for it.
You can't play defense.
You have to be willing to go for it.
You can't play defense.
You have to.
The way we play defense in 2021, you can't play defense now. You can't go silent default, play strong corners, and just basically try to play retake and post plants. So first off, the game is retake and post plants now more than ever. But you can't give up the entire center of the map that we used to do. You remember people used to literally just have Sova watching on Icebox middle
and mid,
bro. Try to do that shit today, bro. Try to do that today.
It's way too hard. It's way too hard. It's way too hard.
You cannot play defense like this, and it is what it is. I'm sure they learned their lesson now. But yeah, I was obviously not surprised by Gen.G. I still, I think Gen.G has a massive chance of winning the first tournament here because I think their style is very good against the remaining teams. I think Heretics is the one team I think that can, like, this is, again, no disrespect. I know, blah, 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 blah. Like, I called it. I did not say that they would win. I thought PRX would still edge it out. But I did say that PRX fucking trolled for picking G2, and Valen is definitely the guy that can make you pay, and they did, right? I'm not going to say I got that prediction correct because I did not. Because I assumed that PRX would put it together towards the end. I know you did. And so this is not me again disrespecting Valen. This is just not it. I have a lot of respect for them. But you're in a top 4. right? With an inexperienced, well, first off, you have an inexperienced team, including Valen, but you also now have an inexperienced duelist. I just cannot see a scenario, in my opinion, where an American team wins this event, specifically because the play styles of Heretics and Gen.G are so vastly different. And their macro, in my opinion, well, Heretics macro is the best available in the tournament. G2 is very close. But Heretics have the best macro, and the best micro is Gen.G. So maybe I'm Jim Cramer for these NA takes, but it's just, I know our region, and I know the things that we struggle at right now. The thing about NA is, like, what Gen.G and what Heretics don't realize is beating us now makes it worse for you when we see you again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like they'll get the best of them in Shanghai, but if they meet in champs, because NA is more versatile. We have different rhythms and patterns and games, and like overall, I think our Valorant IQ is higher. But the first time you play against some of these specialists, it's hard, bro. If you've never felt Gen.G when you play them, it's different, bro. But the more you play them, you're like, I know how to stop this shit, but it takes time, and you don't get time in reps in the top 4.
I'm really excited to see that game of G2 versus Gen.G, because I want to see how G2 go into this game, what kind of game plan they have, because I think you're right. It's such a unique style. I don't think they've played anything like this before. I don't think there's any team in NA that's playing as just as contacty as this. But if there's ever a team to do it, I gotta put some respect on G2's name. Because,
I will argue really good. That G2's macro is better than Gen.G's. I think they can win. If it's not an ugly game, I absolutely think they can win. I think the problem is,
You go.
I just don't see them getting it right on the first time, because Icy is still too new. He's too green, right? And Leaf, like, okay, I'll give you an example, and I mean this with mad respect. I'm not trying to disrespect, but if you told me Leaf was entry, I think G2 would win, because you need, think about Leaf on Cloud9, very aggressive, very fast. Look at his op peak, bro. This guy, dude, I'm still pissed about FURIA versus Cloud9 last year and the game plan, and anyways. But Leaf is aggressive. He's in your face, and he's super talented. He is going to get entries on Gen.G, and I'm telling you, he would be the difference. I'm telling you, that play style will absolutely be the difference. The problem is they have him on Sentinel, where he's not going to get the opening pick. You have Icy. And when Icy plays Gen.G, he's going to be like, what the F is this? What is this? And when Valen sees it, he's going to be like, what is this? What are they doing? And that, the mixture of, so I say this a lot to our guys, the tempo switch of Gen.G, I think, is the best in the world. Their ability to go from super slow to super fast within even an interval.
I would definitely agree with that. They do a really good job. They do a really good job knowing when to switch the pace.
Yeah, and it's not round by round. That's easy, right? That's easy to be like, oh, this round they're aggressive. No, I'm talking between intervals. That switch, arguably one of the hardest things I've seen to deal with in a match. But the more you play against it, the better you are dealing with it. It's just they need the reps to play against it.
You used to,
and you can't even scrim teams that do that very well. So,
well, because first of all, fucking teams and scrims just run it down. So,
yeah.
Oh, EDG, brother. Oh, hold on. We're gonna get into EDG right after this conversation, because we're kind of bouncing all over the place. We're doing predictions now, but it's fine. I just want to say, I think that Icy, I think I could see him struggling in this series for sure, but I want to say that it just seems like every match that he plays, he is getting more and more comfortable, at being more explosive and more aggressive. Like in this match against PRX specifically, I mean, first of all, the first map was a wash. PRX rolled G2, and by the way, if G2 can't figure out this first map situation, kind of like how Gen.G had that first map situation, where like Gen.G would just like never win the first map. You know what I mean? Up until they played 100 Thieves and won the first map, I mean, I think their hopes of winning the series are going to be kind of nil. Or I don't want to say that I don't believe that they'll be able to come back and reverse sweep Gen.G, but it's going to be fucking hard, bro. It's going to be so hard to do that against a team like Gen.G. Whereas I feel like if they can get that first map win, like let's say they win the coin flip, they get their map, they win their first map win, I think that's their entry in, that's their ticket in to potentially taking this series. And it's also because Icy, I mean, in the last game that he played, he went 13 first kills, 4 first deaths in the series. He played the best out of anybody on his team. And he's just looking more and more comfortable. And that not only that, but Trent, who I kind of feel like hasn't been like performing as the Trent that we know, like the protege of fucking Trent, you know, that star power. He actually had in this series against PRX probably his best series all tournament long. And I feel like these are good things going into the series against Gen.G, and with the fact that they do have time to try to make a game plan or maybe hone in a little bit more on the certain things that Gen.G like to do, I think that they have a chance in that way. I mean, I'm gonna be rooting for them either way. Maybe I am biased, but I just really like that. I really like that squad over there, bro.
Like,
I like that
they're the homie. I like them so much. It's just, you know, when you put your Valorant hat on,
it's gonna be hard, no matter what. No matter what, it's gonna be
hard. It sucks to be that guy that always roots against them. But like, again, I could be the Jim Cramer for G2 results, but it's just there's just too much.
I mean, Gen.G are fucking good.
There's too much that goes the other way. I know, man, and I basically have picked against them. I think almost the whole time, right? Minus. Yeah, we can say PRX, but like I knew PRX trolled, right? Like,
PRX trolled hardest, dude. PRX trolled with this pick. I think they thought it was going to be easy breezy. Like, you said it. You already said it. You already said it.
Yeah, I gave you one example, or I'll give you one example. So Trent likes to basically hold his drone as Sova for retakes, right? And G2 are so good at basically following the drone and basically like retaking quick, like flooding super fast, right? Against PRX and their unorganized style, that can work. Gen.G's different though, bro. I'm telling you, these Koreans are different. So I understand why Trent would farm PRX, but I think he's going to be very surprised when, like, if they try to do that, for instance, against Gen.G, right? Like, so, because they're not going to let you set up, like, they're just. Textures
they're disruptive.
Yeah, and I think I'm curious to see how that works. I think the veto thing is going to be really important. I think you make a good point about
vetoes are going to be hella important.
G2 probably have to start 1-0 in order to kind of like win the series. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, you're right, because Gen.G's above, behind, it doesn't matter. That team is the same.
Oh, brother, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Team, it can really fuck with you. So. Yeah, I'm with you on that, actually.
Yeah. So next, the next game that we gotta talk about and was kind of sad. Honestly, it was kind of sad. Was EDG versus Heretics. Obviously, if you're a Heretics fan, which I fuck with those guys. I think that team is. I think that amazing. Team. That team is so sick, bro. The way that they play, the fact that I don't know. There's so many good things about this fucking team that I enjoy.
Yeah. First off, EDG picking Heretics is,
bro.
I mean, bro, dude. These guys.
Bro.
I don't know who's making these picks, but they seriously need to actually rethink them now, and they need to do an analysis on themselves, because some of these picks were just troll. They picked the worst. They picked. Arguably the worst team for them, because they picked the best macro team.
Bro, it's not even like the thing with Heretics is like it's not even just the macro. They're well rounded, bro. But okay, but all right. So here, Let me just get into it off the rip on Sunset, bro. You're running a comp that thrives in 4-1s, eh? Well, first of all, hold on. First of all, they made a comp change and they played Astra instead of Viper, which didn't serve the same purpose as how they normally run their defaults, where they like to get people inserted into elbow, etc. Without having that Viper wall up, I mean, I saw it. Like Heretics were just disrespecting the Astra one way that they were trying to do on the left side on that box when they're trying to take elbow control. And then they would just have a crossfire with Boo and fucking and Woot, and then the initiator of I don't know who maybe FNATIC supports them at A, I think,
or Reigns.
Patty supports
it depends
them.
on who you like.
Normally Patty. Normally Patty though. It's normally Patty that throws a flash over the top, and then everyone else swings, and then you get the Owen flash.
Yeah, because he's the KO. Yeah. He's the KO. Yeah.
But my brother, okay. Fuck all that, all right. Fuck all the A default that's how you won, China and got first seed. Fuck all that default. But brother, you're playing a comp that thrives in 4-1s, and you're not even having a 4-1, bro. They had no info B main the entire fucking game. I mean, it was just like I'm watching this, and I'm like, what are EDG doing? And I feel so bad because like. It's their first match. I know they're feeling a lot of pressure, but listen, even if you're feeling pressure like that, you still got to be able to do your defaults correctly. And then if it's coming down to you just choking, then fine. But you weren't even defaulting correctly, bro. And there's no excuse in terms of that. Like that was a blunder because I watched their games before. I watched them win the finals, and they played normal. They played fundamentally correct. Like they played the defaults correct. They did things the right way. There's no way you're telling me the pressure got to them that much that they're forgetting that they should have a lurk or get info on the other side of the map. They stayed 5 people on A. I mean, I don't know how many fucking rounds, bro. And Heretics would walk down mid. They would walk through B main, and all of a sudden, everyone's in fucking elbow. and EDG won a couple rounds like that, but like, dude. They have 5 people surrounding you every fucking round, and you have nobody ever playing for the lurk. Like, just you could even sat and spawn like calm, and you would have gotten a kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was the biggest macro error I've ever fucking seen strategically from a team. It was a complete breakdown. And on the side of Heretics, it looked like one of the freest fucking games I've ever seen, and it was the Woot show where he was just sitting here, fucking aim labs.
I know,
like. Bro,
dude, but yeah, I've scrimmed them a lot.
That was a crazy rant, but bro,
yeah, I mean, to say that they are boom or bust depending on Can is an understatement. I've felt this for quite a while. I thought FPX is actually the best Chinese team.
Bro, dude, I fuck with I fuck with FPX so heavy, bro. Yeah. Oh my god, right. I love the way that they play.
I was not surprised by this. But again, why not pick Foot? I just don't understand, bro. Foot is European PRX. They're in APAC. They scrim them.
That matchup would have been PRX. So much better for them.
Oh it's just these guys are dweebs. Now maybe that's just my Dota background of knowing like drafts and picks bands. That's why I'm good at this. But like, dude, these guys are just
yeah.
Non-macro team picks macro team in deep tournament run. Good luck. What are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah, that matchup would have been actually so sick to see because both teams kind of have that like contacty, approach where it would just be like a battle like that. But against Heretics, bro, like they were out utiling them. They had advantageous fights. They understood. They read the map on the defensive side. They read the map. Okay, you're gonna give us B main. You're gonna give us all mid. Fine, we'll fucking take it. Like they didn't get pushed back once. That was sad. That it's sad to see that. I don't know.
No, it's not sad. This is what they deserve. Like they made decisions that chose this path, and their game plan going into it, as you pointed out, was clearly not as well thought out as it should have been, because they didn't make any Heretics didn't make any changes. So they had the advantage because they swapped the Astra of like looking different, and they might be able to steal a couple rounds early before they start figuring out shit. Okay, here's what they're adjusting to, blah blah. They didn't even do that well. Like, you can go in there with a very good first gun round, a very good 2-for-1, probably a very good anti-eco or bonus, get off to a quick lead. See if the team doesn't change anything. But when it looks this chaotic and bad, you can tell not a great game plan, or the walkthroughs are very bad, players were confused and didn't know what to do, or nerves.
Literally, they looked lost. They looked fucking lost. Yeah. And by the way, same thing on that second map of Split. I feel like on Split they tried to copy G2's game plan on the attacking side, but Heretics, bro, of course they're gonna, dude. That game that Heretics played against G2 on Split, they got rinsed so bad that it's not a good depiction of how they actually like to play the map. And then also they switched Woot onto the Raze and Patatek on a Viper, which, I mean, thank God they did that. No offense to Patatek, he actually played well on the Raze, but it's just the comfortability of Woot on that Raze.
No, we talked about it. There was no reason not to have done that. Yeah,
exactly.
So that was obviously very good.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we're gonna speed through some of these. Well, I guess we shouldn't really speed through this one because this one was surprising to me in terms of the fact that I feel like, again, FNATIC was in the driver's seat and they should have 2-0'd. They played against Foot, they lost. I don't agree with. I think for sure when we saw the map pool split Lotus Ascent, I think everybody understood that this needed to be a 2-0 for FNATIC. But I don't know what the fuck it is with FNATIC against Foot on Lotus. I feel like they've only beaten them maybe one time the entire year on it. You gotta stop picking this map against this team because they just seem to have your number, bro. Like,
teams, I don't know. I mean, it's the same thing with 100 Thieves and Bind, right? People still try them on it.
I don't know. I get it because you look at Foot's comp and you're like, how the fuck? Like, no. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't. Like, it's a weird fucking comp, but they own on it, man. I don't know, bro. They just own on it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't ban it and let Foot pick Sunset, but I don't know. They must know something I don't about themselves, so I won't pretend. But I'll just say that me and you talked about this weeks ago. Foot on Lotus comp that you can't practice against. You don't understand very well. Gives them a pretty big advantage. But other than that, they're kind of capped. They're basically like, did I wake up in the morning and can shoot? Yes, good. If not, we lose. So try them on other maps. I don't know. But I was also surprised by this. When I found out Leo was sick, it made a lot of sense because I actually did not think he played well.
Yeah, no, he was like, dude. So for those that don't know, he was fucked up. He was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like his stomach was absolutely destroyed, bro.
Yeah. But their split looked good. They to me, their split Yoru finally looked coherent. And I don't know if that's a Foot thing or if that's like a good thing, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would have wished I just banned Lotus.
I know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's all hindsight now for sure. But like, it's just in the matchup in that head-to-head, they just seem to get owned by Foot more times than not on a map like Lotus. And I think it's because for some reason FNATIC like to do these things where like they like to go B a lot. And I feel like if you're playing for that, it's pretty easy to shut down. I feel like FNATIC need to do more just like straight up C hits, more conditioning around the C side of the map, because their A refight isn't that good, and then also their transition from going A to B is it's just kind of readable in my opinion. Yeah. They don't do enough job of playing like that little seesaw.
The A refight on the FNATIC comp though on Lotus is really hard because I know I've been struggling trying to figure out because surprisingly, that comp is versatile, but also not versatile, if that makes sense. Because it's so balanced, but the problem is once your util is gone, because you don't have refreshables, it's like hard to re-clear areas of the map with that comp once you don't have util. It's like it's great if you have the util, it's terrible if you don't. So I think they're struggling with the limitation of the comp because the map is sort of figured out with that comp now because so many teams ran it and everyone copied what they were doing. I think Gen.G probably has the best Lotus on that. I don't think FNATIC is quote unquote the team to beat on Lotus anymore, especially on that comp. So yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate, I think. But like, you know, Breach, bro, Breach is fucking everybody up, man. Breach on that map, trust me, I know. So
okay, yeah, so Ascent was a massacre. I mean, the Foot are probably one of the best Ascent teams I think I've seen in the game.
But I kind of feel like that was more like
bro.
energy, because Leo wasn't even. That was the map I said my Sova looked lost here. But I just think about it. You're sick, you're ill. 3 hours later, high intensity.
Oh, bro.
You know,
the guy.
You know how Riot is. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't. You know.
I don't know how he did it, man.
I can imagine. That's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like Ascent was just like, all right, guys.
He almost didn't play.
Get the fuck out of here.
He actually almost didn't play. Like for the first game I casted against Gen.G, they almost had Mini playing. Like he didn't even do the walkout or anything. Like he came on 30 seconds before the match, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do this. But yeah, I mean, anyways, moving on. Again, PRX versus EDG. This one, EDG looked way better on bind, specifically, but they still fucking threw. They had, by the way, 18 first bloods to like
I know
6 or something. It was like something obnoxious. But okay, I feel like that's kind of misconstrued, because I feel like there was so many rounds where they got a first blood where like it was instantly traded because they're getting fucking crunched on by PRX. So like take it with a grain of salt. You know, like I know they get the first blood, but it wasn't like a first blood and they're able to reset. It was like we're getting fucking ran down on our attack default by a defensive team, and we killed one first, but then all of a sudden the TP's coming in. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a misconstrued stat line, you know, but still, I feel like they probably had a good chance of closing this map out, and they kind of choked it. And then Sunset was still another one of those games where it was like, bro, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Sunset was another one. I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Clearly, they need to rethink Sunset,
bro. Yeah, I mean,
so
it's just so crazy because I watched their Sunset in the finals they played, or even in the semifinals, and like they actually played the map. Like, listen, they were never really good at it, but they played the map normal. Like they played the map how they should by the comp that they're playing, actually. But when I watch these matches, like they're not doing it correctly.
Pressure bust pipes, man. That's what it is. Pressure bust pipes.
Not the only pipes that got busted. Gen.G took out 100 Thieves, which 100 Thieves seemed to go down really early on and then make a comeback, but it just wasn't enough. We already talked about that, so we're just going to breeze past that.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about it. And then we had a fucking banger game of G2 versus Heretics. This was a fucking... Dude, this was fucking unfucking believable. I'm just going to fuck all over the place.
This was shocking to me, actually.
Bro.
It
was extremely shocking.
Yeah,
extremely shocked. Even even Heretics picking Icebox, I was like,
yeah. It was a Jonah P show for most of it. For me, I was surprised by who stepped up, and you know, it was nice.
I mean, let's be honest, bro. Heretics fucking fumbled the bag on Ascent. This could have been a 2-0, but.
No, it should
come back from a fucking, but to come back from a 10-2, bro. Or no, it was more.
But the thing,
it was
hold on. But but let's start with the first. Heretics don't play this map, so the expectation that they were going to have and they're going to be able to close it out was already going to be tough. Second, you can tell that momentum carried them on the first. So, for instance, I believe they got reset. G2 got reset and then never won again, right? Because you know how it is, like, like you know, and then
you got
the momentum. A lot of what Heretics are doing were basically, I mean, it was actually good Ascent attack, but it was also what you're supposed to do in attack, which is favorable 1v1s. They got them, they converted, great. On defense, you could tell they have no idea what the fuck they were doing. No idea what they were doing. I know. And you can tell why that map didn't go their way. And I felt really bad because their B was getting picked on. Like, they were literally getting picked on because they realized, wait, you can't retake B. You don't know how to retake B. And Valen just kept, like, anytime he needed a round or he knew, like, all right, this round's going to be close, let's go B. It's just I was surprised more by the start, by the 10-2, like, wow, they actually are beating G2 on this, than I was the comeback. Because even when I was watching, I expected the comeback, especially because I knew this was an Ascent team. And then when I'm watching their defensive rotate, bro, dude, it was tough to watch. Bro, they had no idea what to do. They had no clue. They had no clue.
Wait, we're talking about Ascent right now?
Yeah.
Wait, whose defense? Because both teams went crazy on defense.
Oh, sorry. I meant like when G2 was on
I think
attack.
you greened it out a little bit.
They just kept going fast.
Oh, that's what you meant.
I just said defense
yeah,
because it's just my brain.
Yeah.
But like they just kept going B. And it was like you could tell that like, they didn't
I understand
know.
now. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I mean,
just like,
yeah, you two got flustered for sure, bro. They had no idea what they're doing.
Yeah. But it's one of those things, I think, where an experienced team just has a bad start and then they crawl back. Like we did that against Gen.G this year. We did that against PRX this year, or where we're getting destroyed and then we just come all the way back. We didn't close it out the way that G2 did, but when you know you're better, you just once you get your bearings under you, it's fine. And like I said, the biggest reason why I was not surprised by them throwing was because they're not an Ascent team. I was more surprised that they got out to the lead that they got out to than I was the fact that they threw. But I definitely thought Heretics would win this series. So it was impressive to see them fight back like that.
Dude, the way that they lost the fucking eco round too, like it's like it really came down to that, because even if it goes to let's say you got on 12 and then you lose, I mean then at least you have OT. But like you got ecoed for the comeback, bro. Holy fuck, man! It was just crazy shit to watch. Trent woke the fuck up again in this series. Jonah P was a monster in the last map of Lotus as well. And I think G2 is a really good Lotus team, where in terms of like their overall macro on the map kind of carries the fuck out of them. And then you couple that with some changes that Jonah P made on the defensive side for himself, because the last time these two teams played against each other, I mean that fucking I think it's A is the one all the way on the right on attacking side. That A site was like just Heretics for the taking every single time the previous time this team played. And he made just a change of one orb and a little bit positioning a little bit more forward, instead of instead of getting bombarded on the actual site with all the breach utility and the fade utility that Heretics have, which is like smothering. He was playing like ahead of it, and just he was able to punish in that type of way. And that's what ultimately, that little change made them own on the defensive side. Then we had 100 Thieves versus Paper X. And I mean, it fucking came down to the wire. OT on Icebox. That was a roller coaster of emotions this entire game, bro, because it was so up and down, and especially on that last map.
This is the one time I actually thought 100 Thieves would win this match right here, because of obviously what I saw for G2 and the macro advantage and all that stuff. Like, I actually thought, I was surprised it was as close as it was, actually.
Same.
I thought they would just destroy them.
Too.
Yeah.
Me too. I agree with you.
So it just so happened to be.
Completely agree with you on that. And then the last map was Heretics versus Foot. And this was a fucking complete decimation of Foot like we've never seen. Bind, like, Foot looked pretty good on attack. Like, they looked pretty good on attack. They made a comeback. But I think Heretics were just on some shit, bro. They're just on some shit, man. Like, bro, they just have a fucking roster, bro. Like, every roster they have, even with Pad Attack, whatever it may be, they just put you down, man. Like, you can do everything right, and then it comes down to the actual hit, and you're getting 3K'd by like Rians or like Benji Fishy, or like fuck, even Boo has his moments, you know. Pad Attack Pad Attack might be the best pistol round player I think I've seen like in the game. He might actually genuinely be the best pistol round player I have ever witnessed. He's always good for 1 or 2 on pistol round.
Yeah, he's insane. He's absolutely
It's insane. The most important fucking round of the game. It really is the most important 100%. Round of the game. And he 100%. Fucking always gets 1 or 2. He's a freak. We're finally at the end. we're doing our Preds. So today there's matches literally today. So this will come out, probably in like a day or two. And we got G2 versus Gen.G. We got 100 Thieves versus Heretics. Let's start with the first one, G2 Gen.G. Who you got? Well, we kind of talked about it already, low key, but just tell me who.
I think
Gen.G. Gen.G. I'm gonna go G2 just because I've been supporting them all tournament long. We already talked about all the points. You guys can go back
to pick a team, brother.
Hey, TLDR. If G2 win the first map, they got a good chance of closing this out.
Yeah.
If not, I see a world where Gen.G could 2-0 potentially. But we move on to the next game. 100 Thieves Heretics. I got 100 Thieves.
So tough. I think this is close.
Because I'm biased NA. But I really fuck with Heretics. I think
this is close.
I fuck with Heretics so much. I fuck with Heretics so much.
By a hair. I think Heretics by a hair. I think these teams are so evenly matched.
It's gonna be a banger, bro. I'm casting that match.
I think to me, it comes down to experience, and I know it's easy to be like, oh, Boaster, world champion. Yeah, sure. That's true. Very experienced. But I think the other guys with Madrid, with the way that things have been going, because remember, 100 Thieves late in the season got on a miracle run, right? Heretics have been, the whole year. So even with a sub, I think it's close. I think it's very close, but I think I'm going to go Heretics.
All right. The Asuna Woot head-to-head on Raze could be the deciding factor, in my opinion. I think that could be the deciding factor. Like, because Woot is so flipping good.
If Heretics don't ban Bind, though, I'm just like, if they don't ban Bind, unlucky. If they ban Bind,
funny.
I think they win.
Copied
if they
the 100 Thieves comp.
I know. But if they don't ban Bind, they're gonna lose. I'm telling you this right now. 100 Thieves will win if they get to play a free Bind. But anyways, yeah. Heretics better ban Bind.
All right.
Play them on split.
That's that's it. Yeah, you're actually right. You're actually spitting some heat right now. You're spitting some heat right now. You are spitting some heat right now.
I do think, though, ultimately, I think Gen.G has a chance to actually win APAC's first tournament. I think Gen.G can win this tournament. And I think they're probably, to me, I think they're the favorite to win the tournament.
At what point do we say that the favorites to win the entire world tournament, bro? They got second in this.
Absolutely
if they get
not.
First?
Absolutely not. Nope. Sorry. They are very one-dimensional, and unless they start evolving, they're not going to win. It's their style of play, similar to Sentinels, is super hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But if they have a bad day, or once you get comfortable playing against it, there's no more tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very confident that the teams that play them here will learn enough that by champs, they're not going to be, like the Gen.G thing isn't going to be a fear. So, but I think as of right now, since all these teams are unfamiliar, I mean, I guess they played some of these teams already, obviously, but yeah. I think right now Gen.G is strong, but Worlds, I think that's a different beast. Everyone's going to come way more prepared. So,
all right.
Anyways,
that's it for SpikeTalk number 9. Thank you guys for fucking watching. Shit was a pleasure. And yeah, enjoy the rest of this tournament. The next pod we'll do will be pretty much just a rewrap, a summary of everything going on. So thank you guys so much again. Peace the fuck out.